All right, good day, everybody. I'm going to be your instructor for the Global Business Environment class. My name is Waleed Ali. This is obviously semester one. And in this class, we're going to be talking about just about global business, about global trade, about how to be successful if you're trying to go global, right? We're going to get into all that in the next coming weeks. And we're going to get into, there's going to be a lot of this class. I've posted the weekly course outline. So you guys have to make sure that you guys go online, look at the weekly plan, look at what we're doing every single week. Make sure, because every single week shows when you have a quiz, when you have assignments, when you have your projects and your final, all of that's over there. So make sure you go see it so you have that. And so we're gonna get into this right now. This is the first class we're gonna be doing, so it's not gonna be too crazy. I'm just gonna get into kind of the basics of the global business environment. So I want you guys to kind of just get an understanding of what we're gonna be talking about. Alrighty. So what is the global business environment? So environment in different countries with unfamiliar factors from domestic environment which affect firms' decisions on resource use and capabilities. Okay, so if you guys are reading the textbook, you would read that and kind of, come to terms with your own meaning. It's a little, the term, the actual definition is a little detailed. It's a little too much. I like to break it down, okay? So basically, when they're saying that different countries' unfamiliar factors from domestic environment which affect firm decisions on resource use and capabilities. So the global business environment basically just talking about if you're a new company and let's say you're in India, you want to open up a business in Canada, what out outs what things outside of your organization, what will affect your organization from the outside, right? What external factors are going to affect your organization that you don't have much control over because you're living in India. Okay, so it includes activities of consumers and competitors, right? Let's just say that you have a product that you're selling. Let's say you're selling a cell phone into Canada. Who are your competitors here? Or you're selling shoes here in India. Who are your competitors? Like that's going to affect you, right? Because you're going to be competing against the people who are also trying to come into Canada or who are already in Canada. So that's the global business environment. You need to understand what's really happening, right? So consumers and competitors, government policies, right? You can't just come into a country and just behave like you were doing back in India or Pakistan or wherever. Every country has its own rules. So you got to follow those rules, right? Technology developments. Maybe Canada has more technology than India. Maybe not. Maybe India has more technology. So you have to see what are the developments. Who's further ahead. If you're further ahead, if India's further ahead, you can make you can make something here that's going to help Canada get to that level. You can't come into Canada with outdated technology because it's not going to work. Social and cultural context, right? You got to understand how people in Canada behave, what they like, what they don't like. That's a global business environment, right? So many elements in global business environment operate independently and interact with each other. So basically what this is saying is there's so many different aspects in the global business environment. Some of them operate completely separately from each other, and some actually work with each other. But we're gonna get into that after in the slides coming up. So so you guys moved to Canada, right? And you guys now know probably since you guys semester one, I don't know how long you guys have been here, but you guys should probably know a little bit about Canada, right? So what's Canada's place in the world? Okay, so Canada is obviously in the northern part of North America. Who borders us? The U.S. Underneath the U.S. is South America, which is all the South American countries, Brazil, all those guys, right? Costa Rica, all those guys. So what's Canada's place in the world? Northern part. 10 provinces and 3 territories. So they have 10 provinces. It's kind of like the U.S. having states, okay? So these guys have 10 provinces. It's the world's second largest country, right? Second largest country, but look at the population, 38 million people. That's nothing, right? Why is there so much land, but so less people? I'll tell you why. It's because of the cold. There's not a lot of people that want to move to immigrate to Canada because of the cold. The cold is so severe here, especially if you move up north. The cold gets unbearable. So there's only roughly 38 million people, and if you compare that to the population in one state in the US, if you just look at the state of California, California has roughly 30 million, maybe a little more than 30 million people in one state. Canada, the second largest country in the entire world, only has 38 million people. Imagine the difference of business that's being done in the US versus Canada. Canada is so small compared to the US. How many states does the US have? 50 states, and they have multiple number of people, millions and millions and millions of people living in the states. And then you have Canada with only 38 million people, right? And majority of these people don't even buy just in Canada. They buy from the States, they buy from India, they buy from China. So Canada's economy is not growing as it should, right? So there's a lot of things going on in Canada right now. Obviously, the CAD is the Canadian dollar, is the currency. We do have free healthcare, which is always a bonus, right? You always want to have free healthcare. That's something that the U.S. is not good at, obviously, because they have so many people, so many different types of people, so many people who want to scam the government, scam the system. We have a lot of people here in Canada who scam the system, but it's easy to pinpoint. When you have 38 million people versus 300 something million people in the U.S., it's a lot more easier to pinpoint, right? So huge potential for more jobs and security. So Canada does have a huge potential. If people can look past the cold, then some major businesses can open in Canada. Some major talents can come out of Canada. So there's a lot that can happen in Canada. It's just that people are not willing to move to Canada because of the cold, right? So also in Canada, there's a lot of monopolies, right? So a monopoly is a company or a company that kind of controls everything. That's what you call a monopoly. So, for example, in Canada, you got Bell and Rogers and Telus. Those three guys. They control the cell phone market. They don't allow anyone in. They don't allow anyone out. They control the market. So, basically, Canada has a lot of monopolies. The industry that I work in. So, for my full-time job, I manufacture compactors and balers and just heavy equipment. And when it comes to our competitors, we only have, for people who do what we do in the residential sector, we only have maybe two people. It's us and someone else. We had one more guy, he dropped out. So there's only two people. If you go into the States, you'll find probably 15 people 15 companies who are doing the same thing. Canada is only two, so it's good for people who are in an industry to stay in that industry, to keep people out of the industry. They can do that. But again, you're not generating, there's not a lot of competition, so people who are there are just making a lot of money. It's just monopolies, right? Okay. So globalization and trade. Okay, we're talking about globalization. So a process by which businesses or other organizations develop international influence. Okay, so basically, globalization is any company that is trying to start their business in another country. So let's just say you have a business of manufacturing shoes. Okay, so you're living in Canada, you're manufacturing shoes here in Canada. You say, you know what? There's a huge potential in the States. Why don't I start selling into the States? That's called globalization. You're taking your product from your country and trying to set up the same thing or even better in a different country. Okay? So example. Examples are China and India, right? They're profiting huge profits because their labor is so cheap, right? what I can get done here in Canada for $500, I can get done in China for $50. Now the reason for that, there's a reason for that, and people just think, oh, because China don't get paid well, or no, it's not. That's not it. The reason why China and India have can create things on such a low cost is because supply and demand. Okay, if you think about supply and demand, you'll understand what I'm saying. If you're living in an area where there's 500 engineers versus an area where there's 5 engineers, to try and get your product to work here, you only have 5 people you can go to. And those people are always going to keep their price high because they know, hey, if you don't go to me, you got to go to him. This guy probably is too busy to take you got to go to him. This guy doesn't do too well, okay, you got to go to him. You're probably going to end up coming back to me. Right? So they put their prices up. But when you have 500 people who engineer the same thing, there's going to be a huge price war. And when there's a huge price war, it means the price drops. That's why when you go into those areas, you can find so many people who know how to do that and will do it for cheap just because they need to feed their families. That's why going to China and India is huge. Okay, trade. Trade between countries is the main way countries acquire needed resources, products, and services from each other. Okay, guys. Very simple, right? Trade. The way the world works is actually it's amazing, right? Because you have the Earth, right, that spins around, and the sun. If it's near the equator, then you have resources that people on the top of the equator don't have, and then you have people at the bottom who don't have either. So, for example, Malaysia lives right near the border of the Earth. When Malaysia lives near the border of the Earth, that means it lives in a more tropical environment. It's in a warmer climate. And especially where it's positioned in the world, on the globe, they are probably one of the most rich. Their land is so rich. Their soil is so rich in material and resources. So they're really big exporters of rubber, right? They're very big exporters of palm oil, right? Because of where they're located, they get to manufacture and they get to grow all these things, okay? Now in Canada, up here, up in the north, it's so cold we can't manufacture rubber. The rubber trees need to be living in a certain climate. But what we do have in Canada is a lot of forest. So our lumber is huge. Canada is one of the leading exporters of lumber, right? So when you have exports of lumber, and then you have exports of rubber, Malaysia and Canada can just talk to each other and say, hey, listen, why don't we just work together? I'll send you rubber, I'll send you lumber. There you go. So that's kind of how trade works, okay? So trade is basically when you're getting something from a country that your country does not produce. And this is why companies go to war. This is why there's war over oil, because oil is not found all over the world. Oil is found in the Middle East, found in Russia, found in here, found there. People are now they're doing something called fracking, where they're destroying the environment. They're going and putting explosives in the earth and just blowing up the earth in order to find a little bit of oil, right? A little bit of shale. Take some shale, try to make it into oil. The U.S. is doing that now because they can't compete with Saudi Arabia. Russia is now trying to compete with Saudi Arabia when it comes to the oil, right? Now the biggest thing that happened just recently, right? You guys were there to witness it. The market crashed. The oil market crashed as soon as the coronavirus hit. Why? The oil market crashed, and it happened because, first off, all this oil was getting dumped into the U.S. The reason why it was being dumped in is because Russia started a price war with Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia started producing a lot of oil and sending it out at a very cheap rate. Now, because everything stopped, everything halted, right? Everything was done. You can't go anywhere. Airplanes, trucks, cars, everything was just stopped. Because there was so much supply in the market, you got Russia, you got Saudi Arabia all fighting to get oil, and people's reserve tanks, people's tanks were so high, were so full, they had no more space to take this. So when supply gets so high, the demand becomes so low that Saudi Arabia and them were actually giving oil away for free. They were just like, guys, we produce so much, please just take it. Just take it. Because we don't know where to put it. That's what happened. So that's basically what happened with the oil market crash. Okay, guys, so we're gonna get into something a little different now. It's just business attitude, okay? So when you start a business, no business in the world is guaranteed, okay? You'll never go into a business thinking, oh, I'm definitely gonna make a ton of money. I'm definitely gonna be successful. I'm definitely gonna be the biggest. There's no way that a company does not go through some sort of risk, okay? Risk of failure, risk of losing money, risk of people losing jobs, there's so many risks, right? So whether big or small, every business comes with a risk. Now, the only thing that's really controllable is the attitude. That's what a business attitude is, okay? The companies that survive are the ones who have the best attitude. The attitude of winning, okay? If you have a company that has leaders in the company who have a positive mindset, a realistic mindset on, okay, listen, this product is not working. What do we do? Now, a lot of people in that situation would sit back and say, oh man, product's not working. Well, maybe we should just quit the product, quit the business. It's not working. People who have a positive mindset will say, okay, listen, what's not working about the business? What's not working about the product? What do customers not like? We got to spend a little bit more time trying to figure out what the customers like and want. Once we do that, then we can have a better product and we can sell. That's just it. That's just how it works. You got to have a positive attitude, right? So that's a business attitude. You got to have a negative or you can have a positive attitude towards ideas, right? You can't always be positive. Something just happened where you're just like, all right, okay, that's it. We lost our business. But majority of the time, if you have a positive attitude and you work hard and you figure out, you work smart, you'll find out a way to get through. Okay, positioning the organization for the global marketplace. So basically, this is talking about how do you make your business, how do you make your business tough enough and strong enough and good enough to survive overseas or in a different marketplace, okay? So a brand's position refers to the way that customers and prospects perceive it relative to other brands in the same category. For example, Audi, Mercedes, BMW, all German cars. They all are manufactured in Germany. They come out of Germany. How do they get to the US? How do they get to Canada? What do people's feelings about each car is? What are people's feelings in regards to each of these cars? Right? You got to think about these things. If you think about BMW versus Mercedes versus Audi, I'm an Audi guy. I drive an Audi. I love my Audi. I love my Audi A5. I've driven a BMW. I've driven a Mercedes. I can tell you right now that the way I perceive Audi is higher than BMW and Mercedes. Mercedes is my lowest. I don't think I'll ever buy a Mercedes. A BMW is definitely I'll buy a BMW, but I'll always prefer Audi over BMW. That's just how I perceive it, and that's what a brand's position is, right? So A company's positioning strategy is a plan that details what the company will do in order to cultivate the desired perception in the market so their brand is compared favorably. Now, in if you start talking about those companies again, right? We talk about BMW, Mercedes, Audi. In Canada, why do I love my Audi so much? I love my Audi because Quattro. It has four-wheel drive. It's fast, four-wheel drive, so if I'm driving in the winter, I can conquer the snow. With the right tires, I can conquer the snow. And mine's just a two-door. I have an Audi A5, small two-door, but I rip it around in the snow like it's nothing compared to what I had, which was a Mazda. Had a Mazda. Mazda was all-wheel drive, but it just did not handle the road like my Audi does. Now, what Mercedes and BMW also now to try to push into the Canadian market is winter driving, right? You're talking about winter. Winter's literally the biggest season in Canada, and a lot of snowfalls, and you want to be safe. You want your family to be safe and feel safe. So what they do is they say, you know what? We have xDrive. BMW has xDrive. Mercedes has, what do they have? I don't know. What is Mercedes? Mercedes has, one of you guys probably know. I can't remember what Mercedes has. I don't know. Audi has Quattro. BMW has xDrive. I see the part. I don't even like Mercedes. I don't know what they have. 4MATIC, right? I think it's 4MATIC or something. So they all will try and use these techniques to try and come to the Canadian market, to try and sell to a Canadian buyer. So like, we're a luxury brand, but we also have the four-wheel drive capacity, which is amazing. I prefer Audi. I just love the Audi, the way it handles. I've driven Mercedes, driven BMW. I just love the way the Audi handles. So I'm always going to be an Audi guy. That's basically it. A few ways to win on a global level. Okay. So now if you guys, this is just basically how to win on a global level. Like if you want to start a business in globally, how could you win? Okay? There's just a few ways. There's not, solid, oh, do this and you'll win. There's just a few ways you could work on in order to try and get your business to flourish. Okay? A global strategy of your own. So you guys can't go into a business without a strategy. You got to understand where you're going. You got to do you have to do full market research. You have to do a full plan. You have to understand who your customer is and who you're targeting and what they like, and you have to know. You have to have a strategy, right? Willingness to invest in manufacturing and services. You need to be able to want to invest in that country. Committed to financial resources, same thing. You have to be able to put money into that business. No business is going to run without money. You have to initially invest money into the business, okay? And then another big thing, right? And like I said, this is not just the only ways to win, but these are a few ways, right? So blocking competition from different markets. So if I'm coming into Canada and I want to build something, I got to be able to block the competition, right? I got to know who my competitors are, what my competitors do, how can and I'll tailor my product in order to beat that. For example, I know guys who make a ton of money online. Okay, you know how to make the money online? This is what they do. They go on they go on Amazon, right? And they look up things, small things that people buy. For example, a broom, a brush and pan broom. What's the highest selling brush and pan broom on Amazon? Oh, this one. This one has this handle, it has this brush, it has this, it has that. So what they do is they look at that and they say, you know what? Why don't I find out what people don't like about it? So they start reading all the comments about what they don't like, and then what they do is when they find out what's missing, they call the manufacturer who manufactures that in China and says, hey, listen, I want to order a bunch of these units, but I need you to make this on them. The manufacturers in China very, very easily can tweak and alter and change the product. So they say, okay, yeah, we already made it. All we have to do is put some more things. Okay, they do that. Then he gets that shipped to him. Then that person goes on Amazon, puts their stuff on Amazon, and then advertises it. saying this is the best one because look, it has this, 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 this. And then that's how he makes money. People start buying that product instead. Okay? So that's a way for you guys to make money too. In this class, what I'm going to try to be doing, like this is not going to be one of like a regular class where I just teach you the theory and that's what you guys done. Like I will try to teach you real world things because I just got out of university a few years ago. Okay? 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I got out of university. So I know what it's like to want to learn about the world instead of just learning theory all day, you know? So I'll try my best to try and make you guys learn about the world, make money, right? I'll help you with all of that stuff. Alrighty. Okay, guys. After every class, we will have a after class question, okay? So like I said, it will take place every class. The question must be answered in order to receive participation and attendance marks. I don't care. I want to see you guys. I don't care if you're in the class. If I see your name on Google Classroom, I don't care if I see it. I want to know that you guys did this question in order for you guys to receive marks. So it will be released, the question will be released at the tail end of the class on Google Classroom, okay? So it'll always be at the end. So we're going to go live. Sorry, you're going to go through the slides first. We're going to go live. A question is going to be posted with a video maybe. You got to watch it, answer the question, and that's when the class ends, okay? Cheating will result in a 0 mark. If I ever see anyone's answer is the same, I'm just giving you a 0. The questions will come from the slides, so make sure you watch the slides, guys. Okay? Slides first, then answer the question. And that is it. I'll see you guys live, I guess. All right, see ya.